This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com. We got tons of snow out here in Ottawa, Canada. It's been blizzarding the past few days. And if you're wondering why Piper isn't with me for my last Wrestling Observer review of 2022, she's in bed. Anyone that's been following this channel knows she's been having some health issues, so I'm just going to let her sleep. I won't make her appear today, other than in the picture. Bad news that came last night. UFC Hall of Famer Stephan Bonnar, who I did 4 or 5 interviews with over the years, and he also participated in a vignette with me with Haku and Barbarian at the Cauliflower Alley Club a few years ago that has almost 200,000 views just on YouTube alone. And on Facebook, it's got, I think, over 100,000 more. And he's just a really nice guy. One of the good guys in wrestling. He was also a wrestler. He just never, he could have had a WWE opportunity, but as he said in my shoot interview with him, which I put in the description of this video, he didn't want to sign away his life like you have to do, which some people don't understand, such as Mandy Rose, I guess. They think you can still do what you want when you sign with WWE, but it just doesn't work that way. They pretty much own you, even though you're still considered officially an independent contractor. So there's actually a lot of news this week. So let's get into it. John Cena appeared last week on SmackDown. By the way, SmackDown last night got a 0.5 rating. Or sorry, Friday night. We're already Sunday. I'm so confused with the holidays. But yeah, the SmackDown coming up this Friday is going to have John Cena returning to the WWE. And apparently since they announced that, ticket sales went up. Meltzer brings up that Cena was trained by my good friend Rick Bassman, who initially had a development territory for WWE, UPW. He never gets the credit he deserves a lot of the time, but he was the one that trained Cena, who was known as Prototype at the time and was signed almost immediately to a contract. Cena is 45 now and is considered one of the all-time greats by many. Well, WWE hasn't had a bigger draw than him since his run. Roman Reigns has not hit that level yet. And apparently, there's a good chance that Cena will be back appearing regularly between this SmackDown show and WrestleMania, where it's rumored he might be fighting Logan Paul. Apparently, there's interest from NBC Universal of potentially buying the WWE. I guess their current TV deal with them ends at the end of 2024. And they'll start to negotiate new deals around April, right after WrestleMania. And apparently NBC Universal might pick up SmackDown as well, which is on Fox right now. But Meltzer's bringing up that rather than paying all these rights fees for the programming, it might be better for them just to buy the company outright. And another group that Hugo Savinovich, former WWE Spanish announcer, told me, and he is a news guy too with good contacts, is Saudi Arabia might be interested in buying WWE at some point too. But NBC Universal makes sense. They're spending a fortune on the network alone for Peacock. It would be cheaper for them over time to buy the company, because Meltzer brings up between all the rights deals, they might be paying about $900 million a year to WWE for all those rights deals, where they could spend $7 billion to buy the company and all of its properties. So it might be cheaper for NBC just to buy it for $7 million. And as long as Vince McMahon owns the company, as Meltzer says, a lot of you people are in denial that Vince McMahon is somehow out of the WWE. He owns the fucking company. Meltzer doesn't necessarily see Vince McMahon selling it, but who knows? He also says if he doesn't get back in the main mix of things, he might eventually just give up and sell it. But again, he still owns the company, so obviously he still does work for WWE every day. I don't see anyone being an owner of a company like that and not doing any work. He's not sitting at home, sitting on the couch, watching daytime television. Big E is still out with his broken neck. He's going to get more news in March. Pat McAfee is the sports media personality of the year. Of course, he works for WWE as well. Apparently, Matt Riddle has been dating numerous porn stars, which I would have. I don't know. I would never seriously date a porn star. Might be fun to have sex with them, but I think I'm done with those type of girls because they cause trouble. As I see, they're actually causing trouble with Matt Riddle, numerous porn stars. So I'm not even going to give them the credibility of getting into what they're going on at him about. But basically, he hasn't officially been suspended by WWE. So he might just be taking time off to deal with personal issues. Because unless they've changed policy regarding their drug policy, he's supposed to be on a 60-day suspension. But they are saying he's going to be back in just 6 weeks, which is less than 60 days. And they never publicly said he failed for anything. And for weed, if it would have been weed that he failed for, that's just a fine, $2,500. It's not a suspension. The injury-prone Chelsea Green has shut down her OnlyFans account, and there's rumors she's being brought back to NXT. She seems to get injured a lot every time. Even in Ring of Honor, she got injured, but she seemed like every time she got signed by WWE, which has been at least 2 times now, maybe 3, she's got injured as soon as they debut her or shortly after they debut her. But apparently, their WWE and E have agreed to like a new reality show with wrestlers and their girlfriends, so they might be signing her to potentially also bring back Zack Ryder to be part of this reality show because they want real couples for it. Zack Ryder, maybe one of the most overrated wrestlers of all time. Charles Wright, the Godfather, great guy. I have to say he's one of the good guys in wrestling. Had hip replacement surgery earlier this week that went well, and he says morphine is a hell of a drug. AEW Dynamite last week did a 0.3 rating from San Antonio, Texas, before 4,600 paid. Jazz and Rodney Mack were at that one, and a lot of their wrestling students were on the show, and they're friends of mine, and I'm glad to see them having affiliation with AEW. NXT did a 0.14 rating this week. Raw this week from Des Moines, Iowa, actually had a better rating, 0.43 rating, and there was 5,000 fans in Iowa, home state of Dan Gable. Rampage did a 0.15 rating. SmackDown did a 0.52 rating, and that was part of the double SmackDown taping in Chicago the week before that happened on the 16th of December. And it had just over 12,000 fans. Women of Wrestling did a 0.05 rating. Impact did a 0.01 rating. Young Rock did a 0.26 rating. New Japan Pro Wrestling one of the most overrated companies right now, did not get high enough viewers to even get a 0.01. It has no rating. In AEW news, William Regal apparently did have an option to get out of his contract on February 24th with AEW, but Tony Khan, in one of his great business decisions, let him out of his contract as of December 22nd, so he can go on to reportedly a president, some type of vice president's position in WWE. Apparently, I guess William Regal had a podcast, and the ones that are still airing are the ones that were already taped. And they're still talking about him on Dynamite, I guess. I'm not sure why. Like, this is another thing. If his contract expires December 22nd, why not still use him on TV? Because you really don't have that many known wrestlers. Why not still use him up until the very end? But I guess he's just taking paid time off right now. Sasha Banks might be debuting in AEW on their upcoming LA show. Tony Khan did not land a Ring of Honor television deal as he wanted. He's just starting a streaming service for the company. AEW's 4-year deal with Warner Brothers expires at the end of next year. They have another option to renew it at the same price for 2024, which would mean they would need a new deal by the end of 2025. Interest has been falling quickly for AEW, so they keep signing all these nobodies and letting guys like William Regal go. I don't know. Got a cold here today. This cold weather is brutal. Apparently, there was a survey done by a professor at the University of Kansas who surveyed nationally 503 adults to name the first pro wrestler that comes to mind. And by far, the winners were Hulk Hogan and The Rock. And followed by them were John Cena, Steve Austin, Undertaker, Ric Flair, and Randy Savage. And it's notable that none of the stars today are anywhere near as famous as the stars of the past, which is definitely true. You put Kevin Owens on an independent show, it's not going to draw shit. Jim Duggan told Wrestling Inc. that his home was broken into December 8th at 6:45 p.m. An armed man in his mid-20s went through the front door, and Duggan, who's 68 now, tackled him down and held him until police arrived. Coco Beware, who I interviewed this past year, is currently hospitalized in Mississippi for an unspecified medical condition. And for the record, for that Andre the Giant and who was it? Terry Garvin story that Brian Blair told me about Terry Garvin trying to rape Coco Beware with Andre the Giant in the car and Terry slapping his dick on Coco's ass. I mean, I don't believe that for a second. For the people that were asking me why was I laughing at that, because it's just a hilarious story. Brian Blair, as I'm getting a cold here, is